The most efficient biological assassins on Earth do not possess spines, haven't got eyes, and operate by the millions, buried deep within the ocean floor.
The Bobbit Worm. Buried vertically in the oceanic sediment, a 3-meter-long biological snare known as the Bobbit Worm operates in absolute darkness. It is completely blind. Instead, it runs a high-fidelity hydroacoustic array, tracking the exact hydrodynamic footprint of anything swimming through the void above. Once a target breaches the kill zone, the sand violently ruptures. The jaws snap shut at 6 meters per second. This strike is so fast, it physically tears the water apart, generating a localized cavitation bubble. The sheer concussive force of this underwater shockwave mechanically stuns the victim milliseconds before the teeth even make contact. It is a kinetic execution, a stark contrast to the slow, localized acid erosion we will uncover at the bottom of the abyss. Neutralizing this threat via decapitation is useless. It runs a fully decentralized command structure. Sever the tail, and that isolated fragment will autonomously execute evasive maneuvers, entirely disconnected from the jaws, still crushing the primary target. The Ribbon Worm. Patrolling the seafloor at lengths exceeding 30 meters, the ribbon worm does not bite. It utilizes a pressurized Rincho seal, an internal hydraulic pipeline storing catastrophic fluid pressure. When a target enters its proximity, this pressure forces a concealed proboscis inside out, violently expelling it into the water column. In a fraction of a millisecond, this structure fractures into a white, pulsating net of hundreds of sticky tentacles. These sensory appendages actively sweat a specialized neurotoxin. The chemical payload immediately blocks the victim's sodium channels, forcing a total systemic shutdown of the nervous system. The prey is conscious, yet entirely immobilized, trapped within a fractal web of lethal tissue, a purely biochemical apprehension, vastly different from the heavy metal, armor-piercing hardware we will encounter in the pelagic void. Eliminating this organism through blunt force is a mathematical impossibility. If an external event severs the biological framework into 200 distinct fragments, the system does not fail, within weeks. Every single shattered piece regenerates into a fully operational unit, complete with its own autonomous brain. The Penis Worm. Buried deep within oxygen-starved mud, a 500-million-year-old biological architecture known as the penis worm lies in wait. It does not possess a standard mouth. Instead, its jaws lock into a strict pentagonal symmetry, a heavy-duty geometric foundation normally exclusive to starfish. When it strikes, the entire head cavity, lined with rows of chitinous teeth, physically rotates inward before violently ejecting outward to consume surrounding tissue. A centralized, primitive intake system, primitive at least compared to the fractured, multi-limbed digestive networks we will expose in the Antarctic. These teeth are forged with such extreme structural integrity that they survive intact in the global fossil record for 500 million years. Yet, the true horror of this organism lies in its historical impact. During the Cambrian period, these entities engineered the first massive bioturbation of the seabed. By relentlessly overturning the ocean floor, they evicted static organisms and forced the entire global ecosystem into a brutal arms race. Evolution was forced to invent heavy armor simply to survive this relentless underground audit. Without this foundational demolition, modern complex life would have permanently stalled. The Green Bomber Worm. Cruising through the pitch-black abyss, a completely transparent operative, the Green Bomber Worm, has militarized its own respiratory system. At the base of its appendages sit specialized gills, repurposed entirely as detachable payload capsules. When a predator locks onto its hydrodynamic signature,
the organism initiates a strategic biological drop. It physically severs its own gills. Upon separation, these capsules detonate into an intense 500 nanometer neon green glow, burning furiously for a full 30 seconds. The attacker's visual cortex is instantly hijacked, completely fixated on the glowing decoy. During this exact window of sensory overload, the worm cuts power to its own internal luminescence. Because its cellular tissue is 100% transparent, it instantly evaporates from the visual spectrum, leaving the predator aggressively attacking a discarded, glowing respiratory organ. Tactical evasion is highly effective in cold water, a luxury completely unavailable in the hydrothermal blast zones we must eventually analyze. The arrow worm. Drifting in the pelagic void, the arrow worm relies on absolute zero visibility fused with advanced hydroacoustics. It is completely transparent, registering shifts in the water column so microscopic it can detect the heartbeat of a copepod from centimeters away. Once its telemetry locks onto a pulse, biology gives way to metallurgy. The grasping hooks surrounding its head are not standard organic tissue. This entity actively extracts zinc and copper from the ocean, biomineralizing a heavy metal alloy directly into its jaw structure. The resulting hardware matches the sheer density of human tooth enamel. When it strikes, these metallic hooks function as biological armor-piercing rounds, effortlessly perforating the heavy calcium shells of crustaceans. It is a surgical strike on a microscopic scale, far removed from the mass, corrosive demolition required to dismantle a multi-ton whale. The giant Antarctic scaleworm. Patrolling the deep-sea sediment, the giant Antarctic scaleworm operates under full optical stealth, clad in a dense layer of golden scales. These bristles are highly advanced photonic crystals. They refract the scarce ambient light with such extreme precision that the physical body visually dissolves into the surrounding marine snow. Upon acquiring a target, the engagement is instantaneous. It launches its muscular pharynx outward like a pneumatic cylinder, extending far beyond the main body cavity. At the tip, cross-formation of 4 chitinous pincers clamps down, securing the asset from multiple angles simultaneously. The true biological anomaly occurs post-capture. It possesses no centralized stomach. Its digestive tract fractures, branching out into every single body segment and routing directly down into its legs. It processes raw tissue across its entire physical infrastructure at once, allowing it to consume mass nearly equal to its own without catastrophic structural failure. The Pompei Worm. Physics dictates strict boundaries for complex organic material. Extreme heat rapidly denatures protein structures, triggering cascading systemic failure. Yet, anchored directly to the edge of active hydrothermal vents, the Pompei worm treats the boiling point as a minor environmental variable. It exists in a permanent state of extreme thermal division. Its posterior is firmly anchored in water pushing 80 degrees Celsius, while its gills breathe comfortably in 20-degree currents. It straddles a catastrophic physical gradient that should instantly boil its lower half alive. To survive this hostile architecture, it cultivates a dense fleece of extremophile bacteria across its dorsal exterior. This biological hazmat suit actively neutralizes the lethal heat and metabolizes the toxic heavy metals violently venting from the Earth's crust. Its internal infrastructure is reinforced with heat shock proteins, so exceptionally stable they defy established biological conventions. It does not simply tolerate the intense geothermal fire. It utilizes the extreme temperature as an impenetrable ecological fortress. The zombie worm. When a multi-ton whale carcass crashes onto the ocean floor, it triggers a specialized deep-sea demolition protocol executed by the zombie worm. This scavenger possesses 0 mouthparts or digestive tracts. Instead, It drives a sprawling biological root system directly into the whale's skeleton. Using cellular proton pumps, the roots flood the dense calcium structure with massive quantities of acid, physically melting the bone vault to access the marrow inside. Once the structural integrity is compromised, symbiotic bacteria housed entirely within the worm's tissue take over, directly extracting and metabolizing the trapped collagen and whale fat. The most disturbing anomaly, however, is its reproductive logistics. Male specimens never mature beyond a microscopic larval stage. A single adult female operates as a permanent host, carrying up to 100 of these dwarf males directly inside her oviduct. They are stripped of all anatomical agency, existing exclusively as a genetic spare part inventory stored deep within the entity that is actively dissolving, the graveyard.